Adventure Land in lovely Lenox, Alabama. Was it cold last night or what? Whew. Okay, hopefully we're done with that for a while anyway. 15 freezing days in January, only 9 in February, and only 6 in March. So hopefully we should call them and have them just cancel those other ones too. Okay, here we are. John chapter 21 January 21st, John chapter 7 in just a few minutes. First of all, a couple of announcements I got to make. Does majority opinion matter? Jesus faced this same problem. We believe God should get the glory for his creation, and we're on Rumble at Kent Hovind Official on Genesis Baptist Church. That comes back on today or tonight or sometime.
Yeah, we should have. Today is the 7th day.
Today's the 7th day, so we should be live eventually. You're going to go back and upload all the ones they missed, though, right?
Correct.
Okay, so just go back and or go to the other channel, Dr.Dino, or go to Rumble or Odyssey, Kent Hovind Official. Go look on Dr.Dino.com. If you ever see us disappear on a channel, check there. You'll find out what happened. The atheists are good at, they're not good at answering my arguments, so they're good at trying to silence us for some other reason. They did the same with Jesus. Okay, we're on, I got to change that. Whole bunch more subscribers now. On Genesis Baptist Church, let's see, we're an old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church. Brother Meister, you've been one of them for a long time, haven't you? 62 years? Amen.
Today is pot pie, homemade pot pie.
What's that have to do with?
Being a Baptist.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we think God ought to get the glory for his creation. We're straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles in the itty-bitty town of Lenox. It's not, my slides aren't showing on here, brother. Oh, we got her face. Now you got her face covered. I see why. Yep. Here, scoot over a little bit here. There. Okay, good. Zoom out a little bit there, brother. Now, I like this. I like this all day. Okay. We think God ought to get the glory. So if you want to help us stay open for free, we haven't charged anything in almost 8 years. Join our 777 club. Say, I like what you're doing. I gave 2 tours to families yesterday. The one guy is a Catholic and very interested in listening and trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong. That's all. I just want to know the truth. I don't care what the name on it is. What's the truth? The truth is God made the world and he wrote a book and told us about it. I think he preserved that book. And I think I got a copy of it right here. The Bible. I believe it from cover to cover. Even the cover says Kent Hovind. Can you read that, Stu?
Yeah.
I believe that.
But if you're going to go to heaven, you might as well go first class and be Baptist.
Right. Anyway, if you want to join our 77 club, questions about the ministry or contact Sandra right here, 855 BIG-DINO, extension 1. Okay. Let's see. And Dr.Dino.com. I got to change that number again. I can't keep up on all this. We've had visitors from all over the place. Just come down and see the place, all right? Here we are, January 7th. This is our 858th day anniversary.
January what?
January 21st. I looked at John 7. We'll get old and senile one day. So somebody said last 2 weeks ago, Brother Hovind, since it's the first time you'll be singing this year, have a special request for music. Would you please sing up on a hill, up on a mountain? That hurts so bad. I know what he means. Okay.
And it's too cold today for that.
Then he said, or if you don't sing that one, sing way down upon the Swanee River. That hurts. I can tell what he really means. And he sent in today. If not, would you at least sing somewhere over the rainbow, please? What are they trying to say? Too bad. We're going to sing anyway. I get a lot of requests, but I sing anyway. Okay. You pick the note. What was it?
All to Jesus I surrender. All to him I freely give. I will ever love and trust him. In his presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all. All to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. Sorry.
Well, thank you, ma'am. No. Get any lower, I got to sit on the floor. Yeah. Okay, slide number 882. That's the right reminder. We started off John chapter 7. Let's see, get this thing where they can see the screen over there. I got to sit here, Billy. Can you get all that? For you TikTok folks.
We'll be getting that studio the next day or two also.
We're getting that? Yeah, whatever that means. Okay. We started off John chapter 7. After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry because the Jews sought to kill him. Now, the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand. What on earth is this Feast of Tabernacles? Most people not raised in a Jewish society don't understand this. The Feast of Tabernacles, also known as the Feast of Booths or Sukkot, is a 7-day fall festival that commemorates the 40-year journey of the Israelites in the desert. Remember, they wandered around for 40 years because men do not stop and ask directions, okay? So they finally, one of the women said, "Sir, which way is the promised land?" "Oh, that way." "Oh, okay." They said, "It is one of the 3 pilgrimage feasts recorded in the Bible where all Jewish males were required to appear before the Lord in the temple at Jerusalem." They still celebrate it today, this Feast of Tabernacles. See, there's a little, in that red circle is the Middle East. What they call the Sinai Peninsula is actually not Sinai Peninsula, okay? But Moses, right here, in this time frame before Jesus Christ, we got from Abraham to Jesus, about a 2,000-year period. Let's expand that up a little bit. Moses, about 1440 BC, before Christ, and not BCE, before Christ, okay? Keep the B, what's your textbook? They all say BCE. So the kid says, "What's that mean?" Before the Common Era. They don't want to mention Christ at all in our schools. Anyway, Moses led the people out of Egypt. And so here they were in the land of Goshen, and they're going to go out of Egypt. They're going from here, and they're trying to get to the promised land. There it is right there, okay? Did I do something wrong? They would go, straight toward the promised land. But right in between, in the way, is the country of where the Philistines were today, called the Gaza Strip. Anybody ever heard of the Gaza Strip? Isn't that kind of like in the news every 5 minutes they're still fighting over there? So God led the people, because they're just fresh slaves coming out of Egypt. They got no idea how to have an army, don't know how to do anything except what they're told. I heard one guy applying for a job one time, and the boss said, "What do you know how to do?" He said, "I know how to do what I'm told." Boss said, "You're hired. I've been looking for somebody like that." just do what you're told. So rather than go that way through Gaza where there might be wars, they went down this way. And Pharaoh's spies are looking, watching, seeing which way they're going. And when they turned right instead of left to go north, ended up stuck down here by the Red Sea. See, the Red Sea has 2 branches to it, the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez. So they're stuck there by the Red Sea. And Pharaoh's spies came back and said, "Pharaoh, they're stuck. They're tangled up in the wilderness. They don't know where they're going." Well, duh. None of them had a cell phone with maps on it. And they didn't have a map. They just followed this cloud, and the cloud led them right up to the Red Sea. So Pharaoh tells his soldiers, "Let's go get my slaves back." He still hasn't learned. He said, how many plagues on him? 10 plagues, the frogs and the fleas and all that kind of stuff. He still doesn't get it, okay? So instead, God has a miracle, opened up the Red Sea, and they walked across, and they end up over here where Jabal al-Lawz is, Mountain of Laws. That is Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is in Arabia. It says so in the book of Galatians. Sinai's in Arabia. So Moses is now leading 2 million former slaves around the desert in what is now Saudi Arabia for 40 years, while God transforms them into a mighty nation and an army ready to go into the promised land. While they're wandering around, every time they stop and stay someplace for a few weeks, they cut palm branches or something down and they make booths to live in, to sleep in. So God said to Moses, "Tell the people that from now on, at this time of the year, right after the harvest, I want you to make booths and do this as a memory of you guys wandering around in the wilderness out here when he provided all the water for them, provided all the bread. This is to remind them." And while they're sitting in their booth, they're supposed to be reading that part of the scripture and tell their kids about it. They teach their kids, "Wow, kids, God provided." So God commanded them to remember this time he provided for them by having a holiday every year when they live in a booth. Again, Orthodox Jews still go to Jerusalem, build a booth, and live there. Sometimes they do it out on the beach, build a booth, and live there, called the Feast of Sukkot. It's usually September or October. Let's see. Here's a Jewish girl blessing on the 4 species of the Jewish festival of Sukkot. Okay. Here they are. Guests inside, guests eat out, read it, Hovind. Guests eat inside an outdoor Sukkot to celebrate the Jewish holiday of Sukkot at the time when they're supposed to October. Sukkot in 2023, last year, was September 29th to October 6th, the 7-day festival. It changed. They go by their Jewish calendar, not our calendar, so it might be different every year. Sukkot is a celebration, a Jewish festival, which occurs in the fall every year and is part of the high holiday season. Just like Passover, Sukkot is one of the 2-week-long festivals celebrated in Israel. It's truly a unique time to be visiting Israel. Does anybody know what happened on October 7th, the next day after this feast is over? How Hamas attack unfolded. They attacked on the day after. Everybody's in a cheerful mood. They're not thinking about war. And they come in there and, 1,200 people killed or injured or captured? Al Jazeera News, Israel war on Gaza. A surprise attack by Palestinian group Hamas, combining gunmen breaching security barriers and a barrage of rockets, were launched at the Jewish holiday of Simchat, whatever they call it there. Saturday's attack came 50 years and a day after Egyptian and Syrian forces launched an assault during the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Anyway, the festival is characterized by erecting huts made of branches and is a celebration of God's salvation, shelter, provision, and trustworthiness. It is a Torah-commanded holiday celebrated for 7 days, beginning the 15th day of the month Tishri. That usually falls in September, October, okay? This is their calendar. 5 days after Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The Feast of Tabernacles is the third great annual pilgrimage festival when the Jewish people gather together in Jerusalem, not only to remember God's provision in the wilderness, but also to look ahead to the promised Messianic age, when all nations will flow to Jerusalem to worship the Lord. So Jesus is doing all this stuff in John chapter 7 during this Feast of Tabernacles. This is very important. He's announcing that he says, I'm the bread. Come to me, I'll feed you. Wow, that's what happened. That's why they celebrate this for 3,000 years they've been celebrating this. 3,500 years. You think they got the message by now. Wow, God will provide. Matthew Henry commentary is great on this. Christ declined for some time to appear publicly in Judea. Remember, he said, I'm not going up to this feast yet. And all the other Bible versions take out the word yet, which makes a contradiction in the Bible. We covered that a couple weeks ago. His design to go up to Jerusalem at the Feast of Tabernacles, his discourse with his kindred in Galilee concerning going up to the feast, he told his brothers that about going, his brothers didn't believe in him. In his preaching publicly in the temple at the feast, in the midst of the feast, we have this discourse with the Jews. This is Matthew Henry's commentaries on this, okay? Concerning his doctrine. He talked to them about what he believed and what they believed. Number 2, concerning the crime of Sabbath breaking laid to his charge. They charged him with breaking the Sabbath. He said, you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. He pointed out the hypocrisy of their own belief, okay? I like to do that with the atheists. They'll say something about, you believe a snake can talk. I say, well, you believe you came from a rock. You believe a rock can talk, don't you? If you give it enough time. You give a rock billions of years, it'll talk. They don't understand how stupid their religion is. Okay. Then number 3, concerning himself. Both where he came from and whither he is going. That's what we'll be talking about today. On the last day of the feast, he gave his gracious invitation to poor souls to come to him. The reception was met with, how did they like that? Many people disputed about it. They argued about it. The chief priests would have brought him into trouble, but were first disappointed by their officers and then silenced by one of their own court, Nicodemus. We'll see that in this chapter. So verse 25. Then said some of them of Jerusalem, is not this he whom they seek to kill? But lo, he speaketh boldly, and they say nothing unto him. Do the rulers indeed know that this is the very Christ? So the people are talking about this Jesus guy. What are the rulers and the religious leaders going to do about this? They said, howbeit we know this man. We know where he came from, whence he is. But when Christ cometh, no man knoweth whence he is. Then cried Jesus in the temple as he taught, saying, ye both know me, and you know whence I am. I am not come of myself. He that sent me, that's used in the book of John 42 times, trying to get the message. God sent him, okay? He that sent me is true, whom you don't know him. See, these atheists are always claiming, Hovind, you don't know science, and all you creationists don't know science. No, guys, you don't know science. Science shows dogs make dogs every time. That is science. It is not science to make a chart showing a dog coming from an amoeba. That's not science. But Jesus said, you don't know me. And the atheists don't know science. Okay? But I know him, talking about Jesus saying, I know him, talking about God. I am from him, and he sent me. Then they sought to take him. no man laid hands on him, because his hour was not yet come. You know, when you teach something that they don't like, they'll try to silence you. They'll try to put you in prison. They'll try to shut you up. They'll try to get your YouTube channel shut down. They'll do whatever they can to try to silence you, because they can't handle the argument. Therefore, silence the opposition. It's been going on for thousands of years. And many of the people believed on him. When Christ cometh, will he do more miracles than these that this man has done? I mean, this crowd saw him feed 5,000 people with a kid sack lunch. He walked on water. He raised the dead. He did all kinds of miracles. They said, what are we waiting for? This is the Christ. The Pharisees heard the people murmuring such things concerning him. Now keep in mind, the Pharisees were the religious leaders. They were the folks who thought they were smart. We know the Bible better than you. You come to us and we'll teach you what it says, okay? I believe everybody ought to have their own Bible and read it and decide for yourself. I read lots of comments. You ought to listen to good preaching, and then if you think you disagree, I can agree with lots of people on lots of things. I disagree on some things. I'd make my own decisions. So the Pharisees heard the people murmuring. So the Pharisees are worried. Oh no, the people are believing him. We got to stop this somehow. And the Pharisees and chief priests sent officers to take him. So they called the sheriff on him. Go arrest this guy. Then said Jesus unto them, yet a little while am I with you, and then I go to him that sent me. And ye shall seek me, and shall not find me. And where I am, thither you can't come. He knew these Pharisees, even though they were religious leaders, they knew their Bible well, they didn't really know God. They weren't saved. He said, you don't know me. You don't know the Father, and you're not coming to heaven. What an insult to these guys. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? See, some of the Jews did not go to Israel. They got spread out around the world. And there's a bunch of them in New York. Okay? They're still all over the United States. They're all over the world. What manner of saying is this, that he said, ye shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come? In the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come to me and drink. Remember, they just finished a feast to remember the days of living in the booze, for 40 years. They just should have been reminded, wow, God provided water. Remember, he smote the rock and the water followed them all the way for 40 years out of that rock. And the manna rained down from heaven. He said, if anybody's thirsty, come on. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this spake he of the Spirit, which they that believe on him should receive. See, when you receive Christ, his Spirit comes into you and starts to lead you and guide you if you'll follow. The children of Israel had to follow that cloud or the pillar of fire. God wants to guide you in your life. Are you having trouble with your life? You don't know what to do? Have you let God guide you? He's going to start off by saying, look, read my book. I've got it all in here. And then when you're about to make a decision, a verse will pop into your mind. If you've placed it in your mind, some people have never placed it into their mind, and they wonder, why doesn't God lead me? You haven't read his book. In the military, they do all kinds of training. If this happens, you do this, and it becomes just reflexive. If this happens, you do this. If somebody grabs your shirt, you grab them with your right hand, bring your left hand around, grab their shoulder, and break their arm. Oh, okay. There are moves yet, and it ought to be reflexive. You don't have time to think about it. You better just do it. So the Spirit will come into you if you've put his word into your heart and mind. Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee. But some of you never read the Bible and you wonder why God can't guide you. Your steering is disconnected, okay? Hook it back up. For the Holy Ghost was not yet given, because that Jesus was not yet glorified. Many of the people therefore said, when they heard this saying, said, of a truth, this is the prophet. Others said, this is Christ. But some said, shall Christ come out of Galilee? See, they knew that the scripture said Christ would come out of Galilee, or could come out of Bethlehem. They did not realize Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but he was raised in Nazareth. Yeah. They should have really studied this out before they made a conclusion. He can't be the right one, okay? Hath not the scripture said that Christ cometh of the seed of David and out of the town of Bethlehem, where David was? Yeah, the Bible does say that. And guess what? He did. He was born in Bethlehem, but then when he was just a little child, probably 2 years old, when the wise guys came to visit him, Herod sent to kill all the kids in Bethlehem. So they had to move, had to leave, went to Egypt for a while, okay? Another long story. Okay, verse 43. So there was a division among the people because of him. There's still a division among the whole world is divided over who is this Jesus guy. Some people, the Mormons have decided one thing, the Muslims have decided one thing, the Jehovah's Witness, they've all got a different opinion. Who is this Jesus anyway? Simple, good question. Who is he to you? Just a name? Just somebody died, somebody lived a long time ago and died, somebody who deceived the people? Who is this Jesus? There was a division. And some of them would have taken him, but no man laid hands on him. Then came the officers to the chief priests and Pharisees. That would be the PhDs in education, in religion. They had the PhD. They went to an accredited university and learned all about the Torah. Boy, they spoke Hebrew and they knew it all. And they said to them, why have you not brought him? So the officers came back to the chief priests, and because they sent the officers to arrest him. Officers came back and they said, why didn't you arrest him? The officers said, never man spake like this man. We never heard anybody talk like that. Then answered them the Pharisees, are ye also deceived? Hovind translation. You didn't go to our college. You don't know. You're stupid. Yeah, we're smart. He's lying. Okay. Have any of the rulers or Pharisees believed on him? This is their argument. Whenever you can't win an argument, you watch the atheists, watch my debates, okay? When they realize they're losing, they always resort back to, well, the majority of scientists believe this, don't they? Every time. But is majority opinion or being published in a peer-reviewed journal, does that prove something? The Pharisees did the same thing with Jesus, okay? In 2009, poll by Pew Research, nearly all scientists say humans and other living things have evolved over time. There you go. That's proof. 97% of the scientists, according to Pew, realize, Pew's a good name for that. Got it spelled wrong, but 87% say evolution is due to natural processes, such as natural selection. The dominant position among scientists, there's that magic word, scientist. That's like in back Jesus' day, it was Pharisee. Oh, wow, the Pharisees believe it. Got to be true. Scientists. That living things have evolved due to natural process is shared by only a third, 32% of the public. What are they trying to say with this statement here? 97% of the scientists believe in evolution, but only 32% of the poor peons that don't know any better. They always do this in my debates. There's people who knoweth not the law are cursed. These people don't know the law, therefore they believe this Jesus is the Messiah. Nicodemus is going to come to him in a minute, but let's look at this. Here's the National Center for Science Education, Berkeley, California. I debated Jeannie Scott, okay? Unmasking the false prophet of creationism. Who are they talking about here? October 16, 1998, Daily Star, $10,000 to prove him wrong, told me immediately that the article in my local newspaper was about Kent Hovind, an itinerant creationist who presented a seminar, in quotes, at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Hammond, Louisiana. That's where they were having the big argument of should we teach evolution in our schools. They asked me to come speak at a church. This is a long time ago, okay? Let's see. To many interested in teaching evolution in public schools, Hovind is familiar. As an expert at self-promotion rather than evolution. See, I'm not an expert on evolution because I didn't go to their accredited school. His true agenda is religious right, okay? Hovind's lack of scientific training makes it impossible to engage him on a professional level. Wow.
Did you go to public school till 12th grade?
I went to public school through 12th grade and then went to Illinois Central College. Yeah.
So you were educated?
I'm educated, yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is what they do. His lack of credentials, his anti-public school agenda. It's the same thing they did with Jesus, and I'm not Jesus, I'm not claiming to be, but it's the same technique that the atheists always use. You can't win on the argument, where's the evidence of an amoeba producing a non-amoeba? Well, you didn't go to public school. You didn't go to our schools, and you're ignorant. You don't know. They do this all the time. On losing a debate to a creationist, University of Central Florida, I did a debate there against one of their professors, Nick Power, and he lost badly. Okay, Florida Philosophical Review. On losing a debate to a creationist, Nick Power. By the way, Nick, bring it on again anytime. You ready for round two? Come on, okay. Nick Power, University of West Florida, Pensacola. They were not an audience receptive to intellectual critiques of creationism. Let me translate that. They were all stupid, and I'm smart. Even though I lost the debate, I'm smart. That's what he's trying to say here. Because these people were too stupid to understand, okay? Hovind's the latter's universal acceptance among experts and unmatched degree of confirmation across a broad range of sciences. Is majority opinion proof that something's true? Do the majority of people in China think communism is good? You better. What happens if you don't? How many articles of critical of communism are published in peer-reviewed journals in China? Huh? You think any are? What if somebody doesn't march in step? Is majority opinion in Iran proof that Islam is good? Is that how you determine majority opinion? Are there any demonstrations against their leader in Iran? How many articles critical of Muhammad are published in peer-reviewed journals in Iran? So what does that mean? It means they cut the head off of the ones who tried. That's what it means. Butcher those who mock Islam, behead those who insult Islam. Was majority opinion in Germany proof that Hitler was good? 55 million people. Oh, yes, sir. Heil Hitler. Okay. How many articles critical of Hitler are published in peer-reviewed journals in Germany? How many were there? Outlaw the opposition. Learn about Hitler's early measures against, he called them enemies of the state. That means people that disagree with me. And the atheists think I'm an enemy of education, don't they? I love education. I love science. You guys are polluting science with your stupid religion of evolution. But I say that in Christian love, okay? Here we go. Along the atheist majority of 60%, there were sizable minorities of Russian Orthodox Christians, 20%, and Muslims. This is in the Soviet Union, okay? Let's see. Does majority opinion mean something? Majority opinion in North Korea, that proves, that's the guy with the weird hairdo, he's got to be God. That proves it. Everybody believes it, okay? How many articles critical of Kim are published in peer-reviewed journals in North Korea? Business Insider, North Korea cracks down on dissidents with little respect for Kim Jong-un. So if you just don't even respect the guy, how many of you would have a little bit of lack of respect for Joe Biden, who doesn't even know where he's at, let alone what we should be doing? Can't walk up the stairs, okay? North Korean government has ordered security forces to keep a close watch on movements and paintings of the Kim dynasty, as they fear hostile elements within the country might vandalize them. They got people guarding the signs of the pictures of their leader so nobody vandalizes them. And what happened if they did, I wonder? Yeah. North Korean dissidents lament that human rights are non-issue. Yeonmi Park, who fled North Korea at 13, was forced to become a child bride and eventually made her way to the United States, credits Donald Trump for doing more than previous American presidents to spotlight human rights abuses in her native country. Now let's see. Science, evolution, and creationism. Wow, here we go. On December 20th, Jones, a federal judge in Middle District of Pennsylvania, issued a 130-page long decision. Declaring the overwhelming evidence at trial established that intelligent design is a religious view, a mere relabeling of creationism and not a scientific theory. ID is not supported by any peer-reviewed research data. There you go. We can't teach creation in schools because the journals didn't publish. I see. This guy, losing a debate to a creationist. Yep, Nick, you lost, all right. And you blame it because I don't know any better and the audience was stupid. That's your whole argument. Majority opinion. This people who knoweth not the law are cursed. So, let's see. I checked this morning. I think it's 342 debates I've done. How many do we have on DVD that we sell? That's it. 20 of them. We need to get them all, brother. They're a lot of fun. I could do one every day. Yeah. You got plenty to do, though, right?
I'm working on all the ones you done last year with Donnie, though. We're getting all
Okay, we'll get them. Let's see. In my 342 debates, I would say 100% of the time, when they realize they are losing the debate on the science, they run to the place of their safe place, majority opinion. Here we go. Logical fallacy, majority opinion. Argumentum ad populum. Roman, Latin, got to be true. Known as the bandwagon fallacy, a fallacious argument based on the assumption that the opinion of the majority is always valid. It uses an appeal to the beliefs, tastes, or values of a group of people, stating that because a certain opinion or attitude is held by the majority, it's therefore correct. The fallacy occurs when the appeal is offered in place of a convincing argument. This is exactly what the atheists do every time, isn't it? Majority opinion. Now, sometimes you got to send a secret message. I like this one. Somebody sent me this. Hovind, this poor guy is sending a secret message to his friends. Look on the bottom of his shoes. Help. Can you read that? A secret message. Get me out of this. Never mind. Okay. So Jesus answered and said while he taught in the temple, how say the scribes that Christ is the son of David? For David himself said by the Holy Ghost, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou on my right hand till I make thine enemies thy footstool. David therefore himself called him Lord. Whence is he then his son? So Jesus knew how to ask the Pharisees questions that stumped them. And the common people heard him gladly. And the common people love to watch my stuff on science and the Bible and say, well, Hovind, go get them. Atheists, they still think I'm dumb and you're dumb for believing in creation. They're always going to think that way. They're the modern day Pharisees, okay? This people who knoweth not the law are cursed. Nicodemus saith unto him, he that came to Jesus by night, remember John chapter 3, being one of them, doth our law judge any man before it hear him? Shouldn't we listen to both sides? I'll tell you what, would you evolutionists agree that students in school should at least be presented both sides? Would all of you evolutionists say, look, I really think all the students in our public school should be required to watch the whole seminar series just to get the other side? I think maybe all the students in school should be required to watch Lies in the Textbooks, video number 4, to show, because we're teaching certain things are evidence for evolution, and he's saying they're not, and he's giving the evidence against it. Should students be taught both sides? Wouldn't you agree? Both sides should be taught, guys? Come on now. No, only your side, right? Because we don't know science. This is so sad. I was debating one guy, and I went through some of the lies in the textbooks, and he said, well, folks, Mr. Hovind is right. All these things he's pointed out are indeed incorrect. But he said, Hovind, I got a question for you. If we take all this stuff out that you want out of the textbook, what are you going to replace it with? I said, folks, let me explain what he's trying to not say. He's trying to not say, we don't have any evidence for our theory, and if you remove the lies, you got to find more evidence for my theory. That's what he's trying not to say. And yes, there is no evidence for evolution. None. You think there is? Call 855 BIG-DINO, extension 4. Joseph, book them. Simple question. Where's the evidence for evolution? I'll take you all on, one at a time. And I'm just a lowly high school science teacher with a non-accredited degree. Jesus didn't go to school, not where they wanted him to. He wasn't a Pharisee. He wasn't part of their club, and he nailed him. Okay, sorry for going so long. Any questions or comments we got?
Yeah.
Probably got a bunch.
Yeah.
Let me guess, the flat earthers are here, and creationist crybabies here.
There's a question about it, but not really.
I'm sure you answered this question many times. I haven't heard your answers. Was it really the 7-part seminar? You think Earth is round or flat? I didn't answer it on that one. It is round. I'll answer it right now. It's very simple, okay? Kansas is flat, part of Nebraska, the rest of it's round, okay? Christians don't read the Bible correctly. It's about transmutation and secreting the pineal gland. I see. Enjoy yourself, okay? Go start a church that teaches that. See how far you get. Tyson, if we don't worship God, we fall prey to materialism and darkness. Yeah, I believe in a creator, but I don't think the teaching or writing style is understood. I don't believe in evolution either. I just think you misunderstand the teachings of the book. Well, give me a specific, and we can talk about it. Tyson, call me anytime. 855 BIG-DINO, extension 3. Okay, let me get some over here. Why did Jesus write in the sand? Very interesting question and very interesting answer. They brought a woman, John chapter 4, they brought a woman taken in adultery to Jesus and said, hey, Jesus, should we stone her? She was caught in the very act. Jesus didn't say a word. He stood down and wrote on the sand. I think there's probably a lot of sermons could be preached on that. I don't know what he was saying, but I thought a lot of options. I wonder if he was just writing down the name of the man that she was with, and why didn't you bring him? Because maybe he was one of their buddies. Maybe he was a Pharisee. Maybe Jesus just wrote, where's George? And they thought, oh no, he knows. I don't know what they wrote. Maybe he just wrote times and dates and addresses of where they had committed sin. Maybe they're looking saying, oh, he knows. Because it says, beginning at the eldest, they left. The longer you live, the older you get, the more you're going to realize you are a sinner and you can't walk on water and you need the Lord's forgiveness. I don't know what he wrote on the sand, but I think he did it for multiple reasons. God made Adam out of the dirt. Jesus wrote in the dust. That's what he wrote. I don't know. We'll find out when we get to heaven. If you're not going to heaven, I'll try to get the message down to you at that time. Okay, what day is the Sabbath? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, I covered that many times on my video 7 on here about why I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. I got that book somewhere here. Okay, let's see. What did Jesus write in the sand? Time, space, matter. Yep. Watch the one I did. No. Where did God come from? So explain Genesis 1, 6 through 14. I can't do my whole seminar in 5 minutes here during Q&A time. Watch seminar part 1 where I talk about the creation, and 2, you get the whole series for $50. You can watch it, copy it, and then send it back, get your money back. Show me a deal you can beat like that.
Love them so much. I've never had one return.
Never had one return, but you can get your money back minus the shipping cost. Okay. Make copies. If you're not selling them, don't sell them. But if you can make 50 copies, type 5,000 copies, do that, please, and give them away to your friends. Let's see. So what man are you speaking of? I don't know who you're talking about. Followed the live creator. What day is the Sabbath? I did all that. TikTok. Because you got banned everywhere else. Well, I almost tried to insult a little bit saying you low IQ person, but I won't say that. But listen, was only banned for a week on Genesis on the one channel because they said it was medical misinformation. See, they don't like competition. The doctors have got it sewed up where they don't want a cure, they want a customer. And they got it all sewed up if you give medical information, things that don't go along with what they teach, just like the Pharisees, nothing different. The Pharisees said, you don't teach like we teach, you can't come preach in our synagogue. It's the same thing going over. We go back to majority opinion. So we're on a bunch of other channels. And if they shut all our channels down, we're still going to keep preaching, still produce DVDs. And if they shoot me and send me to heaven, we're going to keep sending those all over the world. Okay? We got them hidden in secret places where we make copies. Okay. Okay, let's see. More. TikTok. Let's see. Time, space, matter. Did that one.
There's one on the monitor.
What now? On the monitor? Is it okay instead to go to church on Sunday? Yeah.
To do this instead of going to church.
What now?
To watch you instead of going to church.
Oh, instead of going to church. I don't know. It's up to you. You answer to God about that. We're having church right here, and you're welcome to come. Okay. A lot of people say this is their church. I think you need a local congregation you go to have a pastor you can call when you got problems. I think everybody should have a local pastor where you can say, can I call you? I got a question or problem. You need that. Brother Meister, how many people have you counseled over your 62 years, would you guess? Tens of thousands. Do a lot of people that have been in your church or come to you, a lot of people have problems? All of them, right? If you're married, call Brother Meister, okay? Let's see. Well, the majority used to believe the world was flat. LSD and cocaine was good. Slavery is okay. Denying women the right to vote. So majority opinion means 0. Good point. A lot of things. Majority said you can't get a heavier than air aircraft to fly. I think the Wright brothers said we disagree. Let's see. Do not judge by appearances, judge what is right. How do you apply that principle in evaluating scientific evidence for creationism? What is the scientific evidence that this pen was created? Where's the scientific evidence this was created? It doesn't talk, it doesn't reproduce, made of natural materials, petroleum. It's intuitive. This had a creator, okay? I can tell you it was not created before 1945 because that's when BIC Corporation was made. So I go through that. So see, we don't have to provide evidence for creation. We're here. This is the evidence. If you see a painting, I'll tell you what, here is artwork. Is there any chance in a trillion years that this picture made itself? Would we all agree, if you've got two functioning brain cells, that this picture had a creator? I would be willing to bet every picture in this book had a designer. When you see a picture, a painting, you know there was a painter. If you think otherwise, you're stupid. I'm sorry, there's no kind way to tell you. I'll break the news to you. You're dumb, okay? A painting demands a painter. If you see a building, you know there was a builder. If you see a creation, you know there's a creator. But bigger picture than that, we don't have to prove all that. because we're not demanding ours be taught to all the kids in school. It's you evolutionists who are demanding that we all pay for your religion to be taught. I'm not going to ever be happy with that. Go find somebody else, okay? Let's see. Hovind, you picking up the phone? I called, no one picked up. Well, I'm in the middle of I'm in the middle of preaching, okay? And I'm going to have lunch. And sometime this afternoon, I might take a nap since I started early this morning and worked late last night. But if I don't answer, it's because I don't want to talk to you, okay? But how many calls do I take a day? A bunch. It was so funny down in Pensacola. My daughter was one of my secretaries. She said, Dad, would you do my wedding? I said, honey, I'd be honored. Watch Kent Hovind's daughter's wedding. It's been played 50 times, used 50 times on America's Funniest Home Videos. It's only 1 minute long. I take lots of calls, and I will take your call. I will. You start, age restricted. What? This thing just came up and said, why is it age restricted?
I don't know. What'd you say?
It says people complaining again, trying to shut me down. You cowards. You can't handle a real debate, can you? Come on, 855 BIG-DINO, extension 3. Age restricted for what? Why don't all of you call TikTok and say, and YouTube and say, would you guys shut these atheists off and leave Hovind alone? Why don't all the Christians speak up about this, okay? They just try to silence us. Okay, I'm about ready to eat. Anything else? Much more questions here. How many children die at Dinosaur Adventure Land per year? Whoa. Oh, thousands. I wrote an 8-page response to all the rumors going around. If you want to get a copy of that, call Joseph, tech support at drdino.com. That was one of the rumors, you know. One child, 7 years old, was with his family in our lake in 3 feet of water. Hyperactive kid came up under the dock, hit his head, apparently knocked himself out. Nobody saw it. I was up here a quarter mile away at the camp. His dad and mom are right there. They don't blame us. They don't blame the church. They don't blame anybody. The dad helped us build the gazebo at the end and put a sign up there for his son in honor of Stephen. It was an accident. 3,400 people die every year in state parks and public pools, drowning. It just happens. I was lifeguard certified when I was a teenager and then went water safety instructor so I could train lifeguards to be lifeguards. Okay, I worked 2 full summers as a lifeguard. I know full well about this topic, okay? So if you are that desperate, how many people drown? It's a stupid question to ask, and you're not really looking for an answer, okay? Are you? Notice the smile, okay. So how do you explain DNA relationship? Oh, that's incredibly complicated. I can do that on video 4 and on all my debates. Okay, well, this is going to go all day, isn't it, brother? Okay, we got to quit. We got lunch ready. Any questions from our crowd here? Thank you for joining us. Should I turn the TikTok thing around so they can see our church here? Okay, smile, everybody. Quit picking your nose. Okay, here we are, Genesis Baptist Church in Lenox, Alabama. Come down and visit. And we're in a town of 30 people, and we got probably more than that here, almost. Thank you. See you tomorrow.